The emergency alarm rang through the halls of Nexus 7, the biggest space station in the galaxy. Ambassador Tejo rushed down the metal corridors, his crystal body catching the light from the ceiling panels. He had been sleeping when the call came. Emergency Council meeting. Level red alert. Those words had not been used in over 300 years. The meeting room was already full when Tejo arrived. Representatives from all the major species sat around the huge circular table. The Vexillians looked worried, their crystal bodies dim with concern. The Netherians floated in their special gas tanks, their cloud-like forms swirling faster than usual. Even the Cathara were clicking their insect legs nervously against the floor. "What is the situation?" Tejo asked as he took his place at the head of the table. Intelligence Officer Yujin stepped forward. She was young for her position, but very smart. Her crystal body glowed bright blue as she activated the holographic display in the center of the room. "Sir, we have detected something at the edge of our space, something big." The hologram showed the outer rim of Council territory. Red dots marked the locations of their monitoring stations. At the very edge, a massive energy signature pulsed like a heartbeat. "What kind of energy signature?" asked Commander Veltar of the Netherian fleet. His gas form turned a darker shade of purple, which meant he was thinking hard. Yujin touched a control and the display zoomed in. The energy readings filled the screen with numbers that made everyone lean forward. "The readings are unlike anything we have seen before. The power output is enormous. Our computers think it might be a new type of star." "A star that moves?" asked General Crix of the Cathara. Her 6 arms gestured at the data. "Stars do not move like this." "No, they do not," Yujin agreed. "Which is why we think it might be artificial." The room fell silent. In all their history, the Galactic Council had never found anything artificial that could produce this much energy. Their own biggest ships use fusion reactors. Their most powerful weapons could destroy cities. But this energy signature was like nothing they had ever built. Tejo studied the data carefully. The signature had appeared 3 days ago at the edge of their sensor range. It was moving slowly but steadily toward Council space. At its current speed, it would reach the outer colonies in 2 weeks. What do our scientists think? Tejo asked. Dr. Namil, the Council's chief scientist, stood up. His crystal body was old and cracked, showing his many years of service. "We have run every test we can from this distance. The energy pattern is not natural. It is definitely artificial. But we cannot understand how any species could build something that produces this much power. Could it be a weapon?" asked Commander Veltar. "We do not know," Dr. Namil replied. "The energy is contained, not spreading outward like a weapon would. It appears to be propulsion of some kind." Tejo felt a chill run through his crystal body. In all his years as an ambassador, he had seen many strange things. But this was different. This was beyond their understanding. "Have we tried to make contact?" he asked. Yujin shook her head. "We sent standard greeting signals on all frequencies. No response. Either they cannot hear us, or they are choosing not to answer." The Council members looked at each other with worry. For thousands of years, they had been the most advanced species in the galaxy. Their technology was the best. Their ships were the fastest. Their weapons were the strongest. They had never met anyone who could challenge them. "What do you recommend?" Tejo asked his advisors. General Crix spoke first. "We should send a battle fleet. Show them our strength. Make them understand that this is our space." Commander Veltar disagreed. "No, we should be careful. We do not know what we are dealing with. A diplomatic approach would be safer." "Safer?" General Crix clicked her mandibles in anger. "We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled this galaxy. For 3,000 years, nothing can threaten us." Dr. Namil cleared his throat. "General, with respect, these energy readings suggest otherwise. Whatever is out there, it has technology we do not understand." Tejo raised his hand for silence. He was the senior ambassador, and the decision was his to make. He thought about the options carefully. A battle fleet might provoke a war with an unknown enemy. But a diplomatic mission might look weak. We will send a diplomatic vessel, he decided. But it will be escorted by a full battle group. We will show them that we come in peace, but we are not defenseless. Yujin looked worried. Sir, which ship should we send? Taeho thought for a moment. The Eternal Harmony. It is our newest diplomatic vessel. Fast, well-armed, and equipped with the best communication systems we have. And for the escort? Asked General Crix. Take 12 heavy cruisers and 30 fighters. Enough to show strength, but not so many that it looks like an invasion force. The meeting broke up as everyone hurried to prepare. Yujin stayed behind. To show Taeho more of the data, the energy signature was still moving toward them, steady and unstoppable. Yujin, Taeho said quietly, what do you really think this is? She looked at the hologram for a long time before answering. Sir, I think we are about to meet someone new. Someone who might change everything. 2 days later, the Eternal Harmony left Nexus 7 with its escort fleet. Captain So Young commanded the diplomatic vessel. She was experienced and calm, perfect for first contact situations. Her orders were simple: make contact, assess the threat, and report back. The journey to the Outer Rim took 5 days. During that time, the energy signature continued moving toward Council space. It never changed course or speed. It seemed to have a destination in mind. Captain, called Lieutenant Hyan-Woo from the sensor station. We are approaching the contact zone. The energy signature is directly ahead. So Young looked at the main screen. Space looked empty, but their sensors were going wild. The energy readings were so strong that some of their instruments were overloading. Can you get a visual? She asked. Trying, Captain. The energy interference is making it difficult. The screen flickered and buzzed. Static filled the image. Then, slowly, something began to appear. At first, it was just a shadow against the stars. Then more details became visible. By the ancestors, whispered So-Young God on the screen was a ship. But calling it a ship was like calling an ocean a puddle. It was enormous beyond anything they had ever seen. Their largest battleships were 2 kilometers long. This thing stretched across space like a metal moon. Captain, Hyan-Woo's voice was shaking. I am reading the length as... This cannot be. Right. What does it say? 47 kilometers, Captain. From front to back, 47 kilometers. So Young stared at the screen in disbelief. No one could build a ship that big. It was impossible. The materials alone would require the resources of 100 worlds. Are you sure the sensors are working correctly? I have checked them 3 times, Captain. The readings are accurate. The massive ship hung in space like a sleeping giant. Its hull was smooth and dark, covered with patterns that might have been weapons or engines or something else entirely. Lights moved across its surface in complex patterns that hurt to look at. Captain, called the communications officer. I am detecting massive power sources all along the hull. Whatever this thing is, it has enough energy to power our entire fleet 1,000 times over. So Young felt very small suddenly. Her ship, which had seemed so powerful when they left Nexus 7, was like a tiny insect next to this giant. If this was just one ship, what kind of civilization had built it? Send a message to Nexus 7, she ordered. Tell them we have made contact. Tell them everything has changed. Captain Min-Soo stood on the bridge of the Soul's Vengeance, watching the stars through the massive viewing window. The ship was so big that he could not see the front or back of it from where he stood. After 3 months in space, he still felt amazed by the size of humanity's first diplomatic vessel. Captain, called Navigator Ji-Woo from her station. We are approaching the coordinates given by Earth Command. The alien contact zone should be just ahead. Min-Soo nodded and walked to the command chair. The Soul's Vengeance had been traveling for weeks to reach this meeting point. Earth's long-range sensors had detected the alien ships days ago, first contact with another intelligent species. This was the moment humanity had dreamed about for centuries. What do our sensors show? Min-Soo asked. Chief Science Officer Yoon-ho looked up from his displays. Multiple contacts, Captain. I count 43 ships in total. They appear to be waiting for us. 43 ships? Minsu was surprised. That seems like a lot for a first contact meeting. Perhaps they want to show their strength, suggested Commander In-young, the ship's second in command. Some species might see a display of force as a sign of respect. Minsu hoped she was right. Humanity had come here seeking peaceful contact with galactic civilization. The Soul's vengeance carried no weapons of war, only defensive systems and scientific equipment. It was built to explore and make friends, not to fight. Captain, Yunho called out. The alien ships are moving toward us. They will be in visual. Range in 10 minutes. Good. Prepare the translation computers and open all communication channels. Let them know we are friendly. The minutes passed slowly as both fleets approached each other. The humans on the bridge were excited but nervous. This was the most important moment in human history. Everything they said and did would shape humanity's relationship with the galaxy. Visual contact, announced G-Wu. The main screen lit up with an image of the alien fleet. Minsu leaned forward to get a better look. The ships were beautiful. In their own way, they had smooth, curved hulls that caught the light from nearby stars. Some were shaped like crystals, others looked like flowing water, and a few reminded him of giant insects. They are smaller than I expected, observed In-young. She was right. The alien ships were tiny compared to the Soul's vengeance. The largest one was maybe 2 kilometers long, most were much smaller. Minsu wondered how they could travel between stars in such small vessels. Captain, the communications officer, Lieutenant Subin, called out, I am receiving a transmission from the lead alien ship. Put it on the main screen. The image changed to show the interior of an alien bridge. A creature made of what looked like living crystal stood in the center. Its body glowed with soft blue light, and its voice sounded like wind chimes when it spoke. Unknown vessel, this is Commander So Young of the Galactic Council ship Eternal Harmony. You are entering Council space without permission. State your intentions. Minsu stood up and straightened his uniform. This was it. First contact. Greetings, Commander So Young. I am Captain Minsu of the Human Federation vessel Soul's Vengeance. We come seeking peaceful dialogue with the Galactic Council. We hope to establish friendly relations between our species. There was a long pause. Minsu could see the alien commander talking to others on her bridge. They seemed agitated about something. Captain Minsu, So Young finally replied. Your vessel is ... very large. What is its purpose? Minsu was confused by the question. It is a diplomatic ship, Commander. We built it to carry our delegation and scientific teams for first contact missions? Another pause. This time Minsu could hear other aliens talking in the background. Their voices sounded worried. A diplomatic ship? So Young asked. How many crew members do you carry? 12,000 crew, plus 3,000 scientists and diplomats, Minsu replied proudly. We wanted to bring our best people to meet you. The alien commander's crystal body flickered rapidly. Minsu wondered if that meant she was upset or excited. 15,000 beings on one ship? So Young's voice cracked a little. How is that possible? Now Minsu was really confused. I do not understand your question, Commander. The Soul's Vengeance is a mid-sized vessel by our standards. We have much larger ships for other purposes. The communication channel went quiet for several minutes. Minsu could see the aliens on their bridge moving around frantically. Some were pointing at screens, others were talking rapidly into communication devices. Captain, Yunho whispered. I think we may have surprised them. Commander So Young, Minsu called out. Is everything all right? Have we said something wrong? The alien commander appeared back on screen. Her crystal body was now dim, almost gray. Captain Minsu, may I ask ... What is the length of your vessel? 47 kilometers from bow to stern, Minsu replied. Why do you ask? The screen went dark. The communication channel closed abruptly. What just happened? Minsu asked his crew. I think, said In-young slowly, we may have scared them. Lieutenant Subin was monitoring the alien communications. Captain, I am picking up a lot of radio chatter between their ships. The computer is having trouble translating it, but they seem very excited about something. Can you make out any words? Some phrases keep repeating. Impossible size and planet killer, and how many ships like this do they have? Minsu felt his stomach drop. This was not going the way Earth Command had hoped. They think we are here to attack them. Should we back away? Asked Jiwoo. Give them some space? Before Minsu could answer, the communication channel reopened. Commander So-young appeared again, but this time she was not alone. Several other aliens stood behind her, including what looked like a giant insect and a floating cloud of gas. Captain Minsu, So-young began carefully, we apologize for the interruption. We were discussing your arrival with our superiors. No apology needed, Commander. We understand this is an unusual situation for both our species. Indeed it is. So-young paused. Captain, may I ask about your ship's defensive capabilities? Minsu wondered why she was asking about defenses. The Soul's Vengeance has standard point defense systems to protect against space debris and micrometeorites. Nothing military. I assure you, point defense systems, So-young repeated. And these are standard? Yes, every human ship has them. Space travel would be too dangerous without debris protection. More frantic talking in the background. Minsu was starting to worry that this first contact was going badly wrong. Commander, he said, perhaps we should meet face to face. We could dock our ships and exchange formal greetings. That might help clear up any misunderstandings. The suggestion seemed to cause panic among the aliens. The insect creature made loud clicking sounds while the gas cloud swirled rapidly. That would be quote. So-young struggled to find words. Captain, your ship is larger than our space stations. We do not have docking facilities that could handle a vessel of your size. Now Minsu understood the problem. These aliens had never seen ships as big as humanity's diplomatic vessels. To them, the Soul's Vengeance must look like a flying city. I see the issue, Minsu said gently. What if we send a small shuttle to your ship? A few of our diplomats could meet with your representatives. A shuttle, So-young said with obvious relief. Yes, that would be much better. Excellent. We will prepare our diplomatic team immediately. As the communication ended, Minsu turned to his crew. They all looked worried. Captain, In-young said quietly, I think we may have a bigger problem. Then we realized, what do you mean? If they think our diplomatic ship is impossibly large, what are they going to think when they find out about our actual military fleet? Minsu had not thought about that. Earth Command had specifically sent a civilian vessel to avoid seeming threatening, but to these aliens even their peaceful ship looked like a weapon of war. One problem at a time, he said. Let us focus on making friends first. We can worry about explaining our military later. But as he watched the tiny alien ships keeping their distance, Minsu wondered if humanity's size and technology might be too frightening for peaceful contact. How do you make friends with someone who thinks you are a monster? Fleet Admiral Kyung-ho floated in his command tank aboard the Vexillian battleship, Starlight's Edge. His gas-formed body swirled with dark purple clouds, a sign of deep concentration. Around him, holographic displays showed the positions of 2,000 ships spread across 3 star systems. Admiral, called his aide, Commander Yun SCO. Her crystal body flickered with nervous energy. All battle groups are in position. The human vessel has not changed course or speed. Kyung-ho studied the tactical display. The enormous human ship continued moving steadily toward Council space, seemingly unaware of the massive fleet gathering around it. Or perhaps it simply did not care. What is the status of our weapon systems? He asked. All ships report ready, Admiral. Every plasma cannon, missile launcher, and energy beam in the fleet is charged and aimed at the human vessel. Kyung-ho was not planning to attack, of course. The Galactic Council had ordered him to escort the humans to Nexus 7 for diplomatic talks. But 2,000 ships would surely make the humans understand the Council's power. No species could ignore such a display of force. Admiral, the communications officer announced. We are receiving new intelligence from Commander So Young aboard the Eternal Harmony. What does she report? The humans claim their ship is a diplomatic vessel, sir. They say it carries 15,000 crew members. Kyung-ho's gas form darkened. Further, 15,000 beings on one ship was impossible. The largest council vessels carried crews of maybe 800. Either the humans were lying or their technology was far beyond anything the galaxy had seen. What about their weapons? He asked. They claim to have only point defense systems, Admiral. For protection against space debris? Point defense? Kyung-ho found that hard to believe. A ship that size without heavy weapons made no sense, unless they were so confident in their power that they did not need obvious weapons. Admiral, called the sensor operator. Long-range scans are detecting massive energy signatures throughout the human ship. The power levels are unlike anything in our databases. Show me. The holographic display changed to show a detailed scan of the Soul's Vengeance. The ship was covered with energy patterns that pulsed and flowed like a living thing. Each pulse contained more power than a fusion reactor. How many power sources are we detecting? Kyung-ho asked. Thousands, Admiral. Maybe tens of thousands? The ship appears to be one giant energy grid. Kyung-ho felt a chill run through his gas-form body. What kind of species needed that much power just to move through space? Admiral, Yasuo said quietly, perhaps we should reconsider this show of force. If the humans are as advanced as they appear, 2,000 ships might not impress them. Nonsense. Kyung-ho replied, though he did not sound as confident as before. No single ship can match the combined might of the entire Council fleet. The humans will see our numbers and understand that cooperation is their only option. The hours passed. As the fleets drew closer together, the human ship never changed course or sent any threatening messages. It simply continued on its path, steady and unstoppable. Meanwhile, aboard the Soul's Vengeance, Chief Engineer Haewon was having a normal day. She walked through the massive engineering sections, checking systems and running routine diagnostics. The ship's fusion reactors hummed quietly, producing enough energy to power a small planet. Engineer Haewon, called her assistant, Technician Woo Jin. The debris detection system is picking up a lot of activity ahead. One looked at the display. Thousands of small objects were moving around in space, all heading in their general direction. Probably an asteroid field, she said. Run a full scan to make sure they are not on a collision course. The scan results appeared on her screen a few minutes later. Woo-jin frowned as he read the data. These are not asteroids, Engineer. They appear to be artificial objects. Ships, maybe? Ships? One looked closer at the readings. How many? 2,037, Engineer. They are arranged in attack formations around our flight path. Haewon sighed. This was exactly what Earth Command had hoped to avoid. Someone was trying to threaten humanity's first diplomatic mission. Are they blocking our course? She asked. Not directly, but they are close enough to be a navigation hazard. If they maintain their current positions, we will need to adjust course to avoid collisions. One thought about the problem. The Soul's Vengeance was on a peaceful mission. They could not afford to look aggressive by forcing their way through an alien fleet. But changing course might make them look weak. What does the captain want us to do? She asked. Woo-jin checked the communication system. Captain Minsu says to continue on course but be ready to demonstrate our defensive capabilities if needed. Defensive capabilities? Haewon repeated. He means the point defense grid? I think so, Engineer. Haewon nodded. The point defense system was designed to clear space debris from the ship's path. It used controlled energy pulses to push dangerous objects away from the hull. It was completely harmless to any ship with proper shielding. Prepare the system. For activation, she ordered. Set it to minimum power and wide dispersal. We just want to clear a safe path through those ships. On the bridge, Captain Minsu watched the alien fleet surrounding his ship. The small vessels stayed just outside what they probably thought was weapons range. Their formation was actually quite beautiful, like a school of fish swimming around a whale. "Captain," called Commander Indyung. "Engineering reports the point. Defense system is ready." "Good. Send a message to the alien fleet. Tell them we are going to clear our navigation path of potential hazards. We do not want them to be surprised." Lieutenant Subin opened a communication channel. "Attention alien vessels. This is the Soul's Vengeance. We are about to activate our debris clearing system to ensure safe passage. Please maintain your current positions. There is no danger to your ships." Admiral Kyung-ho received the message. With confusion, "Debris clearing system? What debris?" Space in this area was completely empty except for the two fleets. "Admiral," his sensor operator called out urgently. "The human ship is powering up some kind of weapon system. Energy levels are rising rapidly across their entire hull. Battle stations." Kyung-ho ordered, "All ships prepare for combat." Throughout the Council fleet, alarms rang as crews rushed to battle positions. Weapon systems came online and shields activated. 2,000 ships prepared to fight for their lives, but aboard the Soul's Vengeance, Engineer Haewon simply pressed a button. The point defense system activated with a gentle hum. Thousands of energy emitters across the ship's hull produced carefully controlled pulses designed to push away dangerous objects. The energy was set to the lowest possible level, just enough to nudge space debris out of the way. The effect on the Council fleet was immediate and devastating. Every ship in the formation suddenly lost power. Weapon systems went offline. Engines stopped working. Life support systems flickered and died. Emergency power kicked in on some vessels, but most went completely dark. Admiral Kyung-ho watched in horror as his mighty battle fleet became a collection of drifting hulks in seconds. His own ship had lost main power and was running on backup batteries. "What happened?" he gasped. "Unknown, Admiral. Some kind of energy pulse from the human ship. It overloaded every system we have." On the Soul's Vengeance, one looked at her readings with concern. "That is strange," she said to Wu Jin. "The system worked perfectly, but those ships out there seem to have lost power." "Maybe they have very sensitive electronics," Wu Jin suggested. "Maybe send a message to the bridge. Tell the captain we might want to offer assistance to those vessels." Captain Minsu received the engineering report with growing alarm. His peaceful demonstration of defensive systems had accidentally disabled an entire fleet. This was exactly the kind of misunderstanding Earth Command had warned him about. "Open a communication channel," he ordered. "Attention Council Fleet," Minsu said. "This is Captain Minsu. We notice some of your ships are experiencing technical difficulties. The Soul's Vengeance has excellent repair facilities and medical staff. We would be happy to provide assistance." Admiral Kyung-ho stared at the message in disbelief. The humans had just demonstrated the power to disable his entire fleet with what they called a minor defensive system. Now they were offering to help. "Repair the damage, Admiral," Yun Seo whispered. "What do we do?" Kyung-ho looked out at his powerless fleet drifting helplessly in space. 2,000 of the galaxy's most advanced warships, defeated by what the humans claimed was a routine safety procedure. "Send a message to Nexus 7, he said quietly. "Tell the Council that the humans are not what we thought they were." "What should I tell them the humans are, Admiral?" Kyung-ho watched the enormous human ship continuing peacefully on its course, its crew apparently unaware that they had just rewritten the balance of power in the galaxy. "I have no idea," he admitted. "But whatever they are, we are going to need a new plan." The news spread across the galaxy like fire in dry grass. On every civilized world, beings huddled around communication screens, watching the impossible footage over and over again. A single human ship had disabled the entire Council fleet with what they called a routine safety check. On the Vixilian homeworld of Christos Prime, General Bioram stood in the war room deep beneath the planet's capital city. Her crystal body had turned almost black with stress as she studied the tactical reports flooding in from the fleet. "Show me the energy analysis again," she ordered her chief scientist. Dr. Hansal activated the holographic display. Numbers and graphs filled the air. but they made no sense. General, according to our measurements, the human defensive pulse generated more energy than our entire planetary power grid produces in a year. That is impossible, Ba'ar replied, but her voice lacked conviction. She had seen the footage. 2,000 ships floating dead in space, their crews alive but helpless. General, her aide interrupted, we are receiving reports from our research stations throughout Council space. Every scientist is saying the same thing, which is, the humans were not even trying, General. Their ship showed no signs of strain or effort. Whatever energy source they used, it barely registered as active on their own systems. The Oram felt her crystal body grow cold. If the humans could disable their most powerful fleet without effort, what could they do if they actually tried? What are our options? She asked. Dr. Hansal looked uncomfortable. Honestly, General, we have no options. Our most advanced weapons could not even scratch a ship that size. Our fastest ships could not outrun it. Our strongest shields could not protect us from their defensive systems. You are suggesting we surrender? I am suggesting we be very polite? Across the galaxy on the trading world of Nexus Prime, merchant Dongwu was having the worst day of his business career. The galactic stock market had crashed within hours of the fleet incident. Every company that made weapons, ships, or military equipment had lost half its value. Sir, his assistant called out, the Kithara Empire just canceled their order for battle cruisers. They say they no longer need them. Dongwu looked at his trading screens in despair. 40 years of building his shipping empire, and it was all worthless now. Who needed fast cargo ships when the humans could probably move entire planets if they wanted to? What about our defense contracts? He asked. All canceled, sir. Every government in the galaxy is redirecting their military budgets to diplomacy and cultural exchange programs. Cultural exchange? Yes, sir. Everyone wants to be friends with the humans now. Dongwu sat back in his chair and tried to think. The old galaxy was ending. The age of the Galactic Council's military power was over. But maybe, just maybe, there were opportunities in this new world. Get me a line to Earth, he said suddenly. Sir? If everyone wants to trade with the humans, someone has to handle the shipping. And we still have the best cargo network in the galaxy. Meanwhile, on the remote research station Kepler's Dream, scientist Ji-Hai was making discoveries that terrified her. She had been studying the energy readings from the human ship for 3 days straight, and the numbers kept getting worse. Computer, she said to her workstation, compare the human energy output to our theoretical maximum for antimatter reactions. The human output exceeds theoretical antimatter maximum by a factor of 47,000. Ji-Hai rubbed her tired eyes. Antimatter was supposed to be the most powerful energy source possible. But the humans were producing 47,000 times more energy than perfect antimatter conversion should allow. Computer, what energy source could produce these readings? Unknown. No known physics can explain the observed energy levels. Could our measurements be wrong? Negative. All sensor arrays confirm the readings. The human ship produces approximately 10 to the 18th power watts of continuous energy. Ji-Hai tried to understand what that meant. 10 to the 18th. Power watts was more energy than most stars produced. The humans had built a ship that outshone suns. Computer, if the humans wanted to destroy a planet, how long would it take? Based on observed energy output, complete planetary sterilization could be achieved in approximately 4 minutes. Ji-Hai felt sick. 4 minutes to kill an entire world. And that was just their defensive systems. At the emergency council session on Nexus 7, panic filled the great assembly hall. Representatives from every major species shouted over each other, their voices creating a chaos of fear and confusion. Ambassador Tejo tried to restore order, but even his voice was shaking. The chair recognizes Speaker One-Seek of the diplomatic corps. One-Seek rose slowly from his seat. He was old, even by Kithara standards, and his 6 arms trembled with age. But his voice was steady when he spoke. Fellow counselors, we face a choice. We can treat the humans as enemies and be destroyed, or we can treat them as friends and perhaps survive. Survive? General Crix clicked her mandibles angrily. We have ruled this galaxy for 3,000 years. We do not bow to newcomers. General, One Sikh replied calmly, 3,000 years of rule means nothing if we can all be killed in 4 minutes. The hall fell silent. Everyone had heard the reports from the research stations. What do you propose? Asked Commander Veltar. Full diplomatic status, One Sikh said. Immediate council membership with full voting rights. Trade agreements, cultural exchange programs. Everything we can offer to make them happy. That is surrender, General Crix protested. No, One Sikh corrected. That is survival. The vote was not even close. Every species except the Cathara voted to offer humanity immediate membership in the Galactic Council. Even General Crix's own people overruled her. On distant worlds, the news continued to spread. On the gas giant Nethes, floating cities began learning human languages. On the crystal forests of Vex, artists started creating sculptures honoring human visitors they had never met. On the insect hives of Kith, worker drones began building monuments to human friendship. Queen Yolhi herself declared a day of celebration for humanity's arrival in the galaxy. But on the research station Kepler's Dream, Jihai was making one more discovery that made all the others seem small. Computer, she said. Analyze the human. Ship's construction materials, analyzing ... Analysis complete. The hull appears to be composed of unknown metallic compounds. Density suggests artificial construction at the molecular level. Molecular construction? You mean they built it atom by atom? Affirmative. The entire 47-kilometer hull shows signs of precision molecular engineering. Jihai stared at the read-ins. To build something that size with molecular precision would require technology beyond anything she could imagine. It would take computational power equal to millions of the galaxy's best computers working together for centuries. Computer, how long would it take our best construction systems to build a ship like this? Based on current galactic technology, construction time would be approximately 50,000 years. 50,000 years to build what the humans used. As a diplomatic vessel, Jihai realized that humanity was not just more advanced than the galaxy. They were so far ahead that comparison was meaningless. Computer, final question. If this is their diplomatic ship, what do you think their military vessels look like? Insufficient data to calculate. However, if current patterns hold, their military vessels would likely exceed the energy output of entire star systems. Jihai turned off her computer and sat in the darkness of her lab. Somewhere out there, humanity had ships that could outpower stars. And they had chosen to send their diplomatic vessel first. She began to understand why the Galactic Council was so eager to be friends. When dealing with beings who could build star-powered warships, friendship was not just wise policy. It was the only policy that would let them live to see tomorrow. Across the galaxy. The same realization was dawning on billions of minds. The old order was dead. The age of human dominance had begun not with conquest or threats, but with a simple greeting and an offer of friendship, and somehow that made it even more terrifying. Ambassador Jae-Sung stepped off the human shuttle onto the docking bay of Nexus 7, completely unaware that he was walking into the most important diplomatic meeting in galactic history. Behind him, his small team of advisors looked around with curiosity at the alien architecture. Impressive station, commented Dr. Sujin, humanity's chief xenobiologist. The crystal work is beautiful, very artistic. Remember, Jae-Sung said to his team, we are here to make friends. Earth Command wants peaceful relations with the Galactic Council. Be polite, be respectful, and try not to step on anyone's tentacles. They laughed at his joke, still treating this as a normal diplomatic mission. None of them realized that the galaxy was watching their every move with a mixture of hope and terror. A delegation of aliens waited to greet them. Jae-Sung recognized the crystal-bodied Vexillians from the briefing materials Earth had prepared. The floating gas clouds must be Netherians, and the insect-like beings were probably Cathara. Welcome to Nexus 7, said Ambassador Taeho, his crystal body glowing with what Jae-sung hoped was happiness. I am honored to greet the representatives of humanity. The honor is ours, Jae-sung replied with a bow. We have traveled far to meet you, and we are grateful for your hospitality. Taeho's body flickered rapidly. Far indeed. Your journey must have been ... challenging. Jae-sung was puzzled by the comment. Not really. The soul's vengeance is quite comfortable for long trips. We barely noticed the journey, more flickering from Taeho. Other aliens in the greeting party began making nervous sounds. Perhaps. Taeho said carefully, we should proceed to the council chambers. The full assembly is waiting to meet you. As they walked through the station's corridors, Jae-sung noticed something odd. Every alien they passed stopped what they were doing to stare at the human delegation. Some bowed deeply, others made what looked like religious gestures. They seem very excited to see us, Dr. Sujin whispered. Maybe humans are the first new species they have met in a long time, Jae-sung whispered back. They had no idea that news of humanity's arrival had caused the biggest political upheaval in galactic history. Stock markets had crashed, governments had fallen, and every military in the galaxy had switched to purely defensive strategies. The council chambers were enormous, with seating for thousands of representatives, but today every seat was filled. Aliens from every corner of the galaxy had come to witness humanity's formal introduction to galactic civilization. Impressive turnout, Jae-sung said to Taeho. Yes, Taeho replied weakly. Everyone wanted to be here for this ... historic occasion. Council. Speaker Won-sik stood at the central podium, his 6 arms spread wide in greeting. Despite his age, his voice carried clearly through the vast chamber. Representatives of humanity, he began, we welcome you to the Galactic Council. Your arrival marks a new era in our shared history. The chamber erupted in applause that lasted for several minutes. Jae-sung waved politely, still confused by the overwhelming response. Thank you, he said when the noise died down. Humanity is honored to make contact with your great civilization. We hope this is the beginning of a long friendship between our peoples. More applause, even louder than before. Won-sik cleared his throat. Ambassador Jae-sung, the council has prepared several offers to welcome humanity into the galactic community. That is very generous, Jae-sung replied. What did you have in mind? First, we would like to offer humanity immediate full membership in the Galactic Council with voting rights equal to the founding species. Jae-sung blinked in surprise. According to his briefings, it usually took decades for a new species to earn full council membership. That is ... expected, he said. Are you sure? We have only just met. We are very sure, Won-sik said quickly. We believe humanity would bring great value to our council. Well, I would need to consult with Earth Command, but I think they would be pleased. Excellent. Second, we would like to offer humanity exclusive trading rights in the Outer Rim territories. Now, Jae-sung was really confused. The Outer Rim contained some of the richest systems in the galaxy. Why would they offer such valuable territory to a species they had just met? That is extremely generous, he said carefully. May I ask why you are offering us such favorable terms? The chamber fell silent. Thousands of alien eyes stared at the human ambassador. Finally, Won-sik spoke. We believe in welcoming our friends with appropriate ... respect. Friends, Jae-sung repeated. Yes, that is what we hope to be. A Vexillian representative stood up in the audience. Ambassador Jae-sung, may we ask about your species' intentions regarding territorial expansion? Territorial expansion? Jae-sung was surprised by the question. We are explorers and diplomats, not conquerors. Humanity seeks knowledge and friendship, not territory. A collective sigh of relief seemed to pass through the chamber. And your military policies? Asked an Etherian. Delegate, purely defensive, Jung replied. The Human Federation maintains ships to protect our colonies from pirates and natural disasters. But we have no interest in aggressive warfare. More relieved murmurs from the audience. One more question, Won-sik said hesitantly. The vessel that brought you here, The Soul's Vengeance. Is it typical of human spacecraft? Jae-sung laughed. Oh no, not at all. The Soul's Vengeance is quite modest by our standards. It is just a mid-range diplomatic vessel. The chamber fell deadly silent. Wonseek's insect features turned pale. Mid-range? Wonseek repeated faintly. Yes. We use larger ships for serious exploration missions. And of course our military vessels are much bigger than civilian ships. A Cathara representative fainted and had to be carried out. Several other delegates began making what sounded like prayers in their native languages, double quotes, much much bigger. Wonseek stammered. Well, yes, Jae-sung said, still not understanding why everyone looked so frightened. You cannot fight interstellar wars with small ships. Our battle cruisers are at least twice the size of the Soul's Vengeance. And our dreadnoughts are even larger. Dr. Soo-jin leaned over to whisper to Jae-sung. I think we may have said something wrong. They all looked terrified. Jae-sung looked around the chamber. She was right. Every alien in the room looked like they had just heard their own death sentence. Did I say something to offend you? He asked Wonseek. No, Wonseek said quickly. Not at all. We are just processing the information about your fleet capabilities. Our fleet? Jae-sung was still confused. We only brought one ship. The Soul's Vengeance came alone. But you mentioned battle cruisers and DREADNOUGHTS ... Oh, those are back home. Earth Command thought it would be rude to bring warships to a diplomatic meeting. The comment that was meant to show human politeness instead sent another wave of terror through the chamber. If the Soul's Vengeance was their idea of a small, polite diplomatic vessel, what did their actual military look like? Ambassador Taeho stepped forward, his crystal body dim with stress. Ambassador Jae-sung, may I ask, how many ships does humanity possess? Ships? Jae-sung thought about it. I am not sure of the exact number. Earth Command never tells civilians the full size of the fleet for security reasons. But I think we have several thousand major vessels, plus all the smaller ships for local defense and commerce. Several thousand, Taeho repeated in a whisper. Why do you ask? Just curious about human industrial capacity, Jae-sung smiled. Oh, humanity is very industrious. We have been building ships for centuries. Plus, with our new construction facilities around Jupiter and Saturn, we can build vessels much faster than before. Construction facilities around planets? Wonseek asked weakly. Yes, orbital shipyards. Each one can build multiple ships at the same time. Very efficient. The aliens exchanged glances full of despair. Humanity had not just accidentally demonstrated overwhelming power. They had revealed an industrial capacity that dwarfed the combined output of the entire galaxy. Perhaps, Wonseek said carefully, we should adjourn for today. Give everyone time to process this historic meeting. Of course, Jae-sung agreed. This has been very exciting for us, too. As the aliens filed out of the chamber in stunned silence, Jae-sung turned to his team with a smile. I think that went very well, he said. They seem eager to be friends, Dr. Soo-jin nodded, but she looked thoughtful. Jae-sung, did you notice how frightened they looked when we talked about our ships? Frightened? I thought they looked impressed. No. Definitely frightened? I think we may have accidentally given them the wrong impression about humanity. Jae-sung considered this. What kind of wrong impression? They might think we are some kind of military superpower. Jae-sung laughed. That is ridiculous. We are explorers and scientists. How could anyone think we are threatening? As they walked back to their shuttle, neither of them realized that, across the galaxy, emergency meetings were being held to discuss how to deal with a species that considered planet-sized shipyards and star system-spanning fleets to be perfectly normal. Dr. Soo-jin sat in her laboratory aboard the Soul's Vengeance, surrounded by data files from the galactic species. As humanity's leading xenobiologist, she had been studying the alien cultures for weeks, trying to understand their societies and technologies. What she was discovering made her deeply uncomfortable. This cannot be right, she muttered. Checking the data for the fifth time, the information from the Galactic Council painted a picture of civilizations that were remarkably primitive by human standards. Their fastest ships could barely reach half the speed of light. Their energy production relied on simple fusion reactors. Their largest cities housed maybe 10 million beings. Dr. Sujin had assumed the aliens were being modest, showing only their older technologies while keeping their advanced systems secret. But the more she studied their culture, the more she realized a horrible truth. They were not hiding anything. This was their best technology. Computer, she said to her workstation. Compare alien fusion reactor output to human antimatter systems. Human antimatter reactors produce approximately 1 million times more energy than alien fusion systems. What about their fastest ships compared to our standard cruisers? Human cruisers are 47 times faster than the aliens' fastest vessels. Dr. Sujin rubbed her temples. The numbers kept getting worse. According to her analysis, humanity's technology was not just more advanced than the galactic species. It was so far ahead that they might as well be comparing starships to wooden boats. Computer, analyze alien industrial capacity compared to human production. Based on available data, total galactic industrial output equals approximately 0.01% of human production capacity. 0.01%. Dr. Sujin stared at the number in shock. Humanity could produce more goods and materials in a single day than the entire galaxy could make in 3 years. She opened a communication channel to Earth Command. Dr. Sujin to Earth Command. Priority message for Admiral Changmin. The response came quickly. Admiral Changmin's weathered face appeared on her screen. He had been in charge of the human fleet for 20 years, and his calm demeanor had seen humanity through many crises. Dr. Sujin, how are the diplomatic talks proceeding? Admiral, we have a problem, a big problem. Changmin leaned forward. What kind of problem? The aliens think we are some kind of military superpower threatening to conquer the galaxy. Changmin blinked in surprise. That is ridiculous. We sent our most peaceful ship with our best diplomats. How could they think we are threatening? Because, Admiral, our peaceful diplomatic ship is larger and more powerful than their entire military combined. The silence stretched for long seconds as Changmin processed this information. Sujin, are you telling me that the Soul's vengeance outguns the entire Galactic Council? Admiral, the Soul's vengeance could probably defeat the entire Galactic Council using only its navigation deflectors. Changmin sat back in his chair looking stunned. How is that possible? These species have been spacefaring for thousands of years. They have been using the same basic technologies for most of that time. No major breakthroughs, no revolutionary discoveries. They reached a technological plateau and stayed there, while humanity kept advancing. Exactly. Admiral, I think we need to be very careful about how we proceed. These species are genuinely frightened of us. Changmin nodded slowly. I am beginning to understand the situation. What do you recommend? Full disclosure. We need to explain that we are not a military threat. But we also need to be prepared for the possibility that the truth might be even more frightening to them. What do you mean? Dr. Sujin pulled up a holographic display showing the human solar system. Admiral, look at this from their perspective. We have turned Jupiter into a shipyard. We have industrial stations around every planet. We produce energy by controlling stellar fusion. To them, we are not just advanced, we are godlike. Changmin studied the display. And gods can be even more frightening than conquerors. Exactly. Meanwhile, on Earth, the situation was causing its own problems. Admiral Changmin ended his call with Dr. Sujin and immediately convened an emergency meeting of the Human Federation Command. The war. Room deep beneath Federation headquarters filled quickly with Earth's top military and scientific leaders. Admiral Changmin stood at the head of the table, looking at faces he had known for decades. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, we have discovered that our first contact situation is more complicated than we thought. He activated the holographic display and showed them Dr. Sujin's analysis. Gasps and murmurs filled the room as the leaders realized the scope of the technological gap. "Are we certain about these numbers?" asked General Park SEO, head of Federation Ground Forces. "Dr. Sujin has checked them multiple times. The galactic species are operating at roughly the technological level humanity achieved in the 22nd century. "That was 400 years ago," whispered Dr. Li Kyung, the Federation's chief scientist. "Yes, while they were building their first fusion reactors, we were learning to manipulate matter at the quantum level. While they were exploring their local star systems, we were reshaping planets." The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the implications. "What are our options?" asked Minister Hua Young, the Federation's chief diplomat. "We can continue the deception," Changmin replied. "Let them think the soul's vengeance represents our normal technology level. Try to integrate slowly without revealing our true capabilities." "Or," prompted General Park SEO, "we tell them the truth. Reveal that humanity has technology they cannot even understand. Accept the consequences." "What consequences?" asked Dr. Li Kyung. Changmin looked grim. "Based on their current behavior, they would probably surrender immediately. Offer to become our vassals rather than risk our displeasure." "That is not what we want," Minister Hua Young said firmly. "Humanity did not come to the stars to become conquerors." "No, but we may not have a choice in how others see us." The debate continued for hours. Some argued for gradual revelation, slowly introducing human technology over decades. Others wanted immediate honesty, believing that secrets would only make things worse later. Finally, Admiral Changmin called for a decision. "We need to choose our path now. Ambassador Jae-sung is still on Nexus 7, and the aliens are expecting responses to their offers." "What does Jae-sung think?" asked Minister Hua Young. "He still does not realize there is a problem. He thinks the aliens are just being generous with their membership offers." General Park SEO shook his head. "Poor bastard has no idea he is sitting on top of a diplomatic powder keg." "Which brings us back to our choice," Changmin said. "Do we tell him the truth and risk destroying galactic civilization through culture shock? Or do we maintain the fiction and hope we can manage the deception long term?" Dr. Li Kyung raised a hand. "Admiral, there is a third option." "Which is? We could withdraw. Leave galactic space and give the aliens time to develop on their own. Come back in a few centuries when the technological gap is smaller." The suggestion was met with uncomfortable silence. Humanity had dreamed of meeting alien civilizations for centuries. The idea of walking away from first contact felt like abandoning their greatest achievement. "That seems cowardly," General Park SEO said finally. "It might also be kind," Dr. Li Kyung replied. "Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is give someone space to grow." Minister Hua Young looked thoughtful. "There is wisdom in that approach. But we also have to consider that withdrawal might be seen as rejection or even threat." "How so?" asked Changmin. "If we suddenly leave without explanation, they might assume we are preparing for invasion. Fear can make people do desperate things." Changmin nodded. She was right. The aliens were already terrified of humanity. Mysterious withdrawal might push them over the edge into panic. "So we are back to revelation or deception," he said. The vote was close, but revelation won by a single ballot. Humanity would tell the Galactic Council the truth about their technology and capabilities. "Very well," Changmin said. "I will send new orders to the Soul's Vengeance. Dr. Sujin will brief Ambassador Jae-sung on the real situation. Then we'll see if galactic civilization can handle the truth about humanity." As the meeting broke up, Dr. Li Kyung approached Changmin privately. "Admiral, what if they cannot handle the truth?" Changmin looked out the window at the lights of Earth's city stretching to the horizon. Humanity had built a paradise among the stars, but perhaps paradise was too beautiful for some eyes to bear. "Then, Dr. Li Kyung, we will learn whether gods can be friends with mortals, or whether the gap between us is simply too wide to bridge." The orders went out that day. Soon, Ambassador Jae-sung would learn the truth about humanity's power, and the galaxy would discover whether first contact could survive the weight of overwhelming Technological superiority, the age of innocence, was ending. What would replace it remained to be seen. 1 year later, the galaxy was a completely different place. Engineer Hyojin stood in the Joint Research Facility on Nexus 7, watching her Vexillian colleague Dr. Kulran work with equipment that would have seemed impossible just months before. The fusion containment field is stable, Dr. Kulran announced, his crystal body glowing with excitement. The reactor is producing 10 times more energy than our old planetary grid, Hyojin smiled. That is excellent progress. Soon your people will have unlimited clean energy. Dr. Kulran looked at the small device with wonder. To him, it was a miracle of technology. To Hyojin, it was a simple training reactor, the kind human children built in school science projects. I still cannot believe something so small can power an entire city, Dr. Kulran said. Wait until you see the full-sized versions, Hyojin replied. They can power entire star systems. The revelation of humanity's true technological capabilities had indeed changed everything. When Ambassador Jae-sung finally understood the situation and told the Galactic Council about humanity's real industrial capacity, 3 alien governments had collapsed from the shock. But surprisingly, the galaxy had not fallen into despair. Instead, something wonderful had happened. The alien species had not seen humanity as conquerors or gods to be feared. They had seen them as teachers. Trader Sang-woo walked through the bustling marketplace of New Harmony Station, humanity's first commercial hub in galactic space. Around him, beings from dozens of species examined human goods with amazement. How much for the gravity manipulator? Asked a Kithara merchant, pointing at what humans called a simple anti-gravity cart. 5,000 galactic credits, Sang-woo replied. The Kithara's mandibles clicked in dismay. So expensive for such a small device. Sang-woo felt sorry for the alien. 5,000 credits could buy a small starship in the old galactic economy. But human anti-gravity technology was so advanced that even their simplest devices were worth fortunes to alien buyers. Tell you what, Sang-woo said. I will sell it to you for 2,000 credits, and I will throw in free training on how to use it. The Kithara's eyes lit up. You would do that? Of course. Humanity wants to help our galactic friends prosper. It was not charity exactly. Even at the reduced price, Sang-woo was making enormous profits. Human manufacturing was so efficient that they could produce advanced technology for almost nothing. But seeing the joy on alien faces when they received tools that would transform their civilizations made the business worthwhile on Earth. President Mi-young addressed the Federation Council about humanity's new role in the galaxy. The Great Chamber was filled with representatives from every human colony, plus several alien observers who had requested permission to attend. 1 year ago, she began, we made first contact hoping to find friends among the stars. What we found, instead, was responsibility. The chamber was quiet as she continued. We discovered that our technology, which we considered normal, was seen as miraculous by galactic standards. We learned that our industrial capacity, which we took for granted, exceeded the combined output of thousands of worlds. She paused, looking at the alien observers. We could have used this advantage to conquer. We could have demanded tribute or territory. Instead, we chose a different path. The holographic display behind her showed images from across the galaxy. Human engineers working alongside alien scientists. Human doctors treating diseases that had plagued entire species for centuries. Human teachers sharing knowledge that would advance civilizations by thousands of years. We chose to be gardeners, not conquerors. To help other species grow, not to dominate them. The applause was thunderous, both from human representatives and alien observers, but not everyone in the galaxy was celebrating humanity's benevolence. In the deep space between star systems, something else was stirring. Captain Min-soo stood on the bridge of the Soul's Vengeance, now permanently stationed as humanity's embassy ship at Nexus 7. His peaceful mission had become something he never expected, the center of a galactic transformation. Captain, called Lieutenant Subin from the communications station. We are receiving an urgent transmission from the Outer Rim monitoring stations. What is it? Unknown contacts, sir. Massive energy signatures approaching from outside the galaxy. Minsu felt his blood run cold. For months, human scientists had been studying the galactic species' history and technology. They had found disturbing gaps in the historical records. Entire civilizations that had simply vanished without explanation. How many contacts? Hundreds, sir? Maybe thousands? They are still too far away for detailed scans. Minsu opened a priority. Channel to Earth Command. Within minutes, Admiral Changmin's face appeared on the screen. Captain, what is your situation? Admiral, we have multiple unknown contacts approaching from extragalactic space. Based on their energy signatures, they are not friendly visitors? Changmin's face grew grim. Captain, new orders are being transmitted now. The 7th Fleet is en route to your position. The 7th Fleet, sir? Minsu was surprised. The 7th Fleet was humanity's premier battle group, designed for the most dangerous missions. Captain, our xenorchaeologists have been studying galactic history. We believe these contacts are the reason the galactic species never advanced beyond their current technological level. Sir, every few thousand years, something comes from outside the galaxy and destroys any civilization that becomes too advanced. The species we have met survived by staying primitive. Minsu understood immediately. The galactic species had not stagnated by choice. They had been kept primitive by an external threat that culled any civilization showing too much progress. Admiral, are we dealing with an invasion? We believe so, Captain. And based on preliminary scans, the invaders have technology roughly equivalent to early human military systems. Early human systems? Minsu thought about what that meant. So they are advanced, but not beyond our capabilities? Exactly. They have been the apex predators in this region of space for millions of years. But they have never encountered anything like modern human technology. Within days, the truth became clear. The extragalactic invaders were a machine intelligence that had been harvesting advanced civilizations across multiple galaxies for eons. They arrived every few thousand years to destroy any species that showed signs of dangerous technological progress. But this time, they found something they had never encountered before. Humanity had not just achieved advanced technology, they had transcended it. Where the machines expected to find primitives hiding in fear, they found a species that treated star system engineering as routine construction work. The war, if it could be called that, lasted exactly 17 hours. The human battle fleet that responded to the invasion was not the largest humanity could field, but it was sufficient. Ships that operated on principles the machine intelligence could not comprehend simply erased the invaders from existence, but the real victory was not military. It was the moment when the galactic species realized why humanity had seemed so impossibly. Advanced. Ambassador Jae-sung stood before the Galactic Council one more time, but now his words carried different weight. My friends, he said, humanity did not develop our technology to conquer or to show off. We developed it because we had to. Our region of space was dangerous, filled with threats that required us to become stronger, faster, and smarter just to survive. The chamber was silent as the implications sank in. While your ancestors were wise enough to avoid the attention of the harvesters by staying primitive, our ancestors had no choice but to fight. Every generation of humans faced extinction. Every generation had to become better than the last. One Sikh spoke for the council. So humanity's advancement was not genius or luck, but necessity. Necessity, Jae-sung confirmed. We became powerful because the alternative was death. The revelation changed everything once more. Humanity was not a species of conquerors or gods. They were survivors who had been forged by adversity into something that could protect not just themselves, but others. Engineer Hyojin smiled as she watched Dr. Kulran successfully activate his first quantum computer. Around the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out as human teachers, shared knowledge that would help the galactic species defend themselves. The galaxy had been saved not by submission to a superior force, but by friendship with a species that understood the importance of being strong enough to protect those who could not protect themselves. Captain Minsu watched from his bridge as the first mixed human-alien patrol fleets began their missions to the galaxy's edge. Humanity's overwhelming technology was no longer a source of fear. It had become a shield that would guard galactic civilization against threats too terrible for any single species to face alone. The age of innocence was indeed over. But what had replaced it was better than anyone had dared to hope. An age of friendship, protected by the overwhelming kindness of a species that had learned to be strong not for conquest, but for love.